Cancer.
Hello Cancer, this is your forecast for January 2014. Happy New Year. And this month here, well, we're starting off with an awful lot of power coming in here. And it started actually just these last few days here of 2013. Coming into this big crescendo, and you know how we always put out our New Year vows to ourselves, the intentions for the entire year. Well, we have the new moon here on New Year's Eve as well. So that just makes it really, really powerful and strong. It will not just set you up for this month, but for the entire year, and the energies that it carries with it. See here now on January 1st, we have the Sun, new moon, we got Mercury, we got Pluto, and we also got Venus retrograde. So that's a big powerhouse all taking place here in your 7th house of love and relationship. Partnerships, those you work with closely one-on-one. And so you're definitely going to feel it here in January, Cancerians. So whatever you do with it now, it's going to be really important to how you not only bring out these energies, but how you react to them too. Remember, the moon reacts, whereas the sun comes out and will act. The sun always radiates as the moon reflects, right? So, and we have Venus retrograde here, so that's giving time to go back over, look at, tweak, balance out, weed out, and put into what it is now you want to foresee once Venus goes direct again. However, though, see, just top of the month, we got Pluto doing the dance with the Sun. We got the Sun being square Mars, which is our ambition, drive. But when it's square, it can bring out a little bit more of that aggressive side of feistiness of Mars. And then we also have Mars being opposed to Uranus. So somehow, somewhere, something is not too happy or too harmonious on New Year's Eve. So just be careful. But you might have already got a little feeling of that all the way from Christmas Eve onwards, like something building. There might have also even been some situations that's come out in the open between the two of you. So yeah, just make sure though that try not to put any ultimatums. I never believe in that anyway, without it backfiring. You know, so Uranus here can actually just split off from something. Say, this is it, call it quits, right? That's how quickly, excuse me, Uranus can act, and especially with Mars there. Somebody might say something and then here's the reaction and let it be, right? If you can hold your tongue and you're really serious about whatever it is that is going to become serious, and it will, Cancerians, okay? It's not the easiest of transits to share with you, but being forewarned is always a good thing, right? So it's been building and building, and if you can hold your tongue, if you really, if you're in a relationship that you really want to hang on to, be wise and just hold on until 6th or 7th. Mercury at that time will be that much more rational here as it comes together with Saturn. Then you can talk about what's been taking place. You can put down new grounds, new foundation. This is what Saturn does. It wants to secure your foundation. Plus, it will happen in a very loving way as Mercury and Venus also are close on this day. So there's more understanding, there's more giving to, instead of finger pointing and reacting and little hot-headed here and projecting. Pluto projects, right? And Mars will just react. So if you can get through to the 6th and 7th, then yes, a lot can be saved and a lot can actually also be transformed. Now, what is this and why is this taking place? Now, let me just assure you one thing. Any good relationship that you're in will survive this. You know, it will weather this kind of a storm, but this is an emotional storm, just like we saw the big typhoon, you know, passing over the Philippines. This is a big emotional storm passing through the minds, hearts, and spirits of humanity. All right, there's a lot of transformation taking place within all of us, and we're so subconscious and we just act upon our autopilots for the most that we can be swayed by these energies coming in. So it's like everybody is so, their fuse is so short. But since you're listening to this and you're forewarned, maybe you are the ones that can go out there and help balance this storm, okay? And be the protectors of, so to speak, especially because you have such a great and generous heart as is, and you have Jupiter now also in the house opposing the 7th house. Okay, so if this is your relationship, your marriage, or your one-on-one partnership, where everything now is blowing this huge storm with Mars down here in the 4th house, which is the home and family, 10th house up with career. This is where things are being blasted. And then with Jupiter here opposing the 7th house of marriage and relationship, squaring Uranus and Mars. So we got this big square going on here, and it is for all of us. For you, the main areas is the 1st, 7th, 4th, and 10th. I will speak more about this and go more into detail exactly about where perhaps the big revolt is going on in your life. Here in January, we're just going to go through certain dates so you know how to navigate a little bit. So make sure that you do listen to 2014 forecast for Cancers, right? And then we'll go through that. Now, also here on the 8th, we have Mars and Jupiter square. And so it's like, yes, you can have this very rational talk on the 6th, 7th. However, though, Mars here being in your 4th house, it's home and family. Mars is not too happy, whether this is you being Mars, you know, expressing it, or it could be somebody around you in the family not too happy and expressing it towards you. And if it's them, well, you're going to react because you are human. And your Mars here in the home, well, Uranus is kind of coming from a higher point of view, observing it, and it may just not want to put up with more of this, you know. So I see you being very short and to the point, and because fairness is going to be everything that counts for you. Jupiter in the 1st house, Jupiter rules fairness, justice, the overall picture, and it is also generosity. And if you feel that your generosity has been stretched and taken for granted, for example, and this could very much so be true for you, Cancer, because why? Venus here is retrograde, and that makes you look at your sense of self-esteem, the values that you hold, the values that you share outwardly, and it's into this partnership house. Venus being retrograde is making you second guess, you know, and question, well, how much am I being evaluated? How much have I been giving out? What has been coming in? Is this worth it? Is it going to be more of this, or do I want to change this? I mean, your mind is going to be going like this. And you have been accumulating. I'd like to go back to probably, let's say, October there. We had the Sun and Uranus back then that was not too happy, and it really just trifled off this Mars-Venus square that was at the time. Well, now this Venus has come up since then into this area of your partnership, and Mars is here and really wanting to look at it again. So at least you'll know. But then again, on the 8th, you might have had good talks there, 6th and 7th. On the 8th, you're still not quite sure, not convinced, you know. So just hang in there, because maybe that was just too intellectualized, that communication, because Mercury was there with Venus, Mercury was there with Saturn. So yes, it was rational, trying to bring it back down to earth, right? But what I see that you perhaps felt was lacking there was Venus. You know, where's the emotion in this? Not just the logic, where's the emotion? Excuse me. And so here on the 11th, I see Venus kicking in, taking over that Saturn. So now we can start talking about your needs, you know, and what you feel hasn't been lived up to, and what you feel, if you're going to stay, well, this is then what you need. Venus also rules our needs, right? And then you're speaking very, I won't say just necessarily gently, but very directly about your needs, as if there's everything to win and nothing to lose, because why? It feels like a lost game anyway. But you have everything to win, because now is your shot to actually put it out there. And I see how you're doing it in a gentle way so that it could be understood and received upon your partner. Mercury will be leaving this area of your relationships into the 8th house on January 11th. So it's going to take away some of the focus, some of the need to keep this agenda going, which has been a theme then at least for a couple of weeks there, 3 weeks. And now you're going to be focusing more on the joint resources that you have together, whether this is bank accounts or how you want to share things. Some of you might be splitting things, and this would be, you know, the time to do so. Those of you who's made it through this weather here, well, you are going to be doing good, but you're still going to be looking at your finances. And the 8th house is more than your monthly personal income. It's more the income that we can get from royalties and commissions. So you might be having some communications regarding that, or it might also just be you now looking into perhaps insurance policies and perhaps also investments. Neptune here is keeping you focused on the highest potential, your dream. Okay, so you just stay very, very strong here this month, because whatever you're laying down as grounds now, you are going to be building this. You're shape-shifting this, you're molding this into your own future. And there is a sense of liberation here only because the future you already knows where you're heading. He or she is already there, okay? And so, you know, when you listen within, you can actually get guidance from your future self. And Neptune here in this area for you in Pisces, it's all about now wanting to live up to those highest potentials that you have of your creativity, of your spirituality, being true to yourself on those very high levels. This is what's getting you through this storm. And but you know, we're all being tested. The whole planet is being tested. We might even see the weather here around New Year's also. Mother Earth, you know, shaking off whatever is in a rut. And this is what it is all about, which I'll be talking more about on the forecast for the entire year for 2014, so listen to it. So it's about getting out of a rut that no longer serves its purpose and getting it over into something else. Now, more on a happy note, I do see that you're really standing your grounds here with creativity, new projects, perhaps working really hard at it, and grounding it with not just details, but I feel visions, even though you may not see the outcome of it immediately, okay? So it's not like right here, right now. This is a little bit more long-term. You've already been doing this for some time, you know, here this past 6 months or so, and you'll probably start seeing it coming up here towards more, I'd like to say, summertime for you, or late spring. But right now I see how you're working with details, planning ahead, visualizing that perfect, you know, scenario, and trying to figure out how to get from here to there. Where is that bridge that really brings us over into that new landscape of projects and creativity? For some of you, it's also paying more attention to your children, their needs, supporting them. It's like that is where the main focus is for you now, whether you have small children or grown children. It becomes a priority for you as you're feeling that this in many ways now is a part of that future you want to secure. So we have the full moon on the 16th, Cancerians. The full moon here for you this month will be in your first house. It won't just have passed Jupiter, okay? Which is great because it's going to expand that whole area of Jupiter, but at the same time that full moon will also be opposing here, you know, the 7th house and what's going on there. So pay attention. January 1st, January 16th. On the 1st we got the new moon, on the 16th we got the full moon. So that's going to conclude something there from New Year's. And also it will be forming an opposition here also to Venus. So that is your emotions and your feelings, right? So look at what's going to happen there on that date. Now then also we have some unexpected good news coming in on January 17th. And this is probably coming from a source that you hadn't really anticipated. But it should be good. It should be good for you here. It's coming from the 8th house and also from your 10th house. This could be something from work, perhaps. Your career, if you're doing any interviews, that might be, you know, the time you'll hear back from them. And this is really nice to have on the 17th, because just the day before we had a Venus and Mars square. Last time we had that, that was there in the beginning of October. Here we go again, another square. So this might be a continuation of whatever took place there in the beginning of October for you. And now it's like asking you or showing you how far you've come from October to now. Then we have the Sun moving out of your partnership area into the 8th house, meeting up with Mercury. So once again, it's like leaving this, what you have been working on, as far as home and family related matters, and your relationship should now start easing up a little bit. At least you have that vision. You know where you're heading now. So that's great. And a lot of strength, a lot of courage, a lot of truth has been now in the mix of this. And you're really good about that, because you trust, you feel, you know where you stand in your emotions. So I'm feeling that you're going to be quite, I'd like to say, satisfied at this time. And it kind of shows too with Mercury now trining Mars. Mercury in your 8th house, Mars in the area of the home. So you're on top of it, you're taking charge, taking direction, taking direction, but it's also securing something that you might feel is going to be quite important, if not for you, then for the children. Okay, so I do see you not ruling, but really taking on a grip and taking on a hold for yourself, but you're including some necessities, whatever that may mean for you, but it's securing the children in the future for something here as it moves between the 5th and the 8th house. Then we have January 29th, the Sun and Uranus, and the Sun is you, it's your essence. It's also in this area right now, and Uranus here, sextiling. So once again, just where Mercury had this good news coming from the career field, now the Sun is following up on it. So you might have got, say, if you received good news from an application for a career choice, well, that was on when? The 17th? Well, here on the 29th, you might make preparation to start something. Maybe that's when you're going to start the new job. Then we have a situation, a revisit from beginning of August when Jupiter and Pluto was opposed to one another. Major choices, or the beginning of needing to or wanting to make some major choices back then in August. Well, that's kind of revisiting now. So that's the universe asking you, how far have you come upon those choices? Are you sure you still want this? Do you want to refine, retweak? Whatever the deal is for you, you'll see how this is going to come up. And it's between you and your significant other. Once again, it's the 1st and 7th house. So January is pretty much, for the most part, you and your partner, okay? And how you balance this between the home and then work and career. So, yeah, if you're listening to this on the December side of the reading, well, then you know what's laying ahead, how you can actually position yourself and be attuned with your higher self, and you can get a lot of guidance, like I said, from your future self as well, just so you know how to actually now take what is coming in, because we can't avoid it. And this is what is in your chart now, Cancerians. And I will see you next month. So make sure that you do listen to your moon and rising sign, because these very powerful and potent positions of your planets will be in other houses, okay? In your solar chart, it's you and your partner. In your moon or rising sign, these very planets will be in other areas of your chart. So you want to make sure you read that too to get a fuller scope for what January can bring you. So I'll see you next month. Bye now.